let's get into the mailbag with Abby Barmore. Abby, where are we starting off?
Okay, here we go. The Huskers now have taken commitments from 3 pocket passers in the last 2 classes. Is this deliberate move because of the fumbling issues of running quarterbacks last year, or why?
I still believe that all quarterbacks are still good enough athletes to run if they have to. It's a matter of, the Adrian Martinez guy that, or, is more of a running back that can take off and run. They're not taking those kind of guys, but I think it's important that you have quarterbacks that can step back confidently in the pocket on 3rd and 8 and deliver a pro level throw, because that's what it takes in this conference. You're playing against pros. You got to have guys that can make pro level throws in the pocket, especially on 3rd and 8 type situations. You can't just expect the quarterback to run for 3rd and 8s and that to be a consistent formula.
I like a quarterback who can do both, though. I mean, I don't mind pass first, but like when I watch TJ Lateef, he's got functional speed. He can, if he has to.
He's like CJ Stroud.
Yeah. If he has, probably a little faster, babe. He I'm gonna call you babe again. It's my name. He can get out. I think Dylan can too. I mean, we saw in Hawaii a couple times Dylan kind of thunder up the field.
We saw in the spring game.
Yeah, when he decides to tuck it and go, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and I think that it's just finding the right balance of a guy that can win you games in the pocket, but also be athletic enough to beat defenses if they don't respect him as a runner. And I think that they have that with the guys they've have on the roster and are recruiting. Like there's enough athleticism there that you can have that element of the QB run game. It's not just a statue back there.
No,
even though they're regarded as pocket passers.
Right. Abby, I would not say this is a result. What Nebraska's doing is a result of the fumble issue. I'd be surprised if that's the case. Like if you ask Satterfield, I guess he'd say no, that's not.
And you got to have guys that are comfortable enough to sit there in the pocket and not have that first instinct be first read, second read's not there, take off and run, which I think has been a problem with some of the dual threat guys they've had in the past.
Okay, Nebraska's walkthrough room is up and running. What are your thoughts on what this can bring to this team?
It's just a really unique thing. I mean, I have to think there's nothing like it in college football because you need an incredible amount of space, that to have the width of a football field, essentially 20 yards. Is that what it's 20 yards? So. And then a screen that goes that length where you can line up against the looks that you're going against. I mean, it's incredible, and they're going to get a lot of use out of this. And they were in a great spot to build this facility. Very few teams right now are able to do this right now in the current NIL state. They got this project done right before the NIL era began, and it allowed them to think creatively. And this was something Matt Rule brought to the table. I don't believe this was going to be in there under the original design.
There are walk-through rooms around the country. I don't know if any are elaborate as this one and as large. Like LSU has one. They have a walk-through.
Well, with the screen.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Sean. I don't know if anyone's as elaborate as this.
With all these facilities discussions, we've gotten to the point where I don't care unless it helps you win games. And so does this help Nebraska win? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's how you evaluate it. And you could say yes, because I think at the level of access you have to prepare your team in that setting with those resources, sure. If it helps the team win, I'm all for the facilities. If it's a waterfall or a barber shop or something like that,
golf,
I do not care.
A slide
at all. Yeah, a slide.
Get Dabo Sweeney at Clemson. They have, instead of going down the stairs, you can take a slide down. And he said he got the idea from Google when he went out and checked out Google. There's a slide.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was a slide to get down the press box. Would you take it?
Yes.
To get to really?
Yes.
Yeah.
You wouldn't take the slide.
Probably.
It would help me win. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Beat the crowd. Not have to
take
take that
a long
elevator.
slide from the 6th floor.
Is it a tornado slide? Would I get dizzy?
Yeah. Where are we talking? Where'd you get on the slide is the question.
I don't know. Probably at the top, level 7. And then you just go down the side.
Go down. Okay.
But it couldn't go all the way down because that's a really deep drop. It would have to be.
It would have to be a bend, and it could take you straight to the Hawks doors.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be.
I just want to talk about my shirt.
So back to the shirt.
Yeah. All right. Next.
How about back to the questions, huh?
Good job.
With Nebraska and Colorado at night, what fan experience aspects do you hope to see?
a light show.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Good job. Sean.
Brandon Meyer put that together. I know it helped organize that. I'm sure his wheels are spinning. Troy Dannon's wheels are spinning. They got a real opportunity to make that a special night for the Matt Rule era, for Husker Nation. It's going to be one of the best crowds we've seen in that stadium in a long time.
Light show. So would they just do like they did against Michigan that year? What is that ACD song? ACD Thunderstruck.
No, the light show. I'm talking the drone show.
Okay, that'd be good too. But I
yeah.
like Thunderstruck, Sean.
So you can do all of it.
Thunderstruck.
You can
at
do the
once.
drone show with Thunderstruck.
Okay.
I want things to pour gas on the flames a little bit, like show like old highlights of Nebraska just smoking Colorado and just get the fans dialed in.
Mm-hmm. That'd be good.
Get
It'd
'em
be
mad.
good if you're up. If you're
Get 'em
down,
mad.
it's a little rough. But I like all those ideas.
I want to see Nash Hutmacher in that game just blow through Colorado's rookie center and just throw Shador Sanders down.
bloodlust.
Bloodlust. That's what I'm talking
In our
about.
studio from Sean. That was bloodlust.
Hey, they're the ones that talked, and you saw what those fans did to Nebraska fans out there last year.
Oh God,
It was ugly, and we'll talk about that through. I'm sure we'll get into that.
You
more.
notice we get no pushback for those comments because they can't push back. They're
They know. They embrace it.
horrifyingly bad fans. I
They
mean,
embrace it.
Yeah, they do. That's it. They embrace it. What an odd thing to embrace.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily adults. It's kind of just like a rich kind of
Easy,
frat,
Sean.
just like a young kind of punky kid.
It is.
That's what it. And
Those
know,
guys
There's a
go to
lot of that.
Colorado,
Now,
and
it's-
the rest of
I've
the guys go to CSU.
and they gang up in groups, and then they're like, "Let's be mean to people," and
Yeah.
and then they all kind of have fun doing it as a. I mean, it's weird.
There's some adult activity though that's questionable, as we've
We saw it in
discussed.
2019
Yeah.
for sure
Yeah,
with
we
the
did.
adults because the
Mhm.
students were kind of out of there.
Right. We saw some, untoward behavior for sure.
Next question.
Okay. Last year's offensive strategy was likely circumstantial with all the quarterbacks and injuries. What do you believe that the offensive scheme would look like with Dylan Raiola? And will Rule's run game beliefs still be the core to finishing games?
I'd hope so.
I mean, the run game to me has to be about efficiency. Can you get 4 yards on early run downs, first down? Can you situationally get 3rd and 2s, 4th and 1s?
Mhm.
You got
Like,
it.
That's the run game.
You got it.
Like, you cannot get caught up in 200 rush yards a game or 250 rush yards a game. It's the situational. It's the 3rd down conversion rate. What are they going to be in those key situations?
And first down's key.
Mhm. I like consistency with the run game too. Just because you have a quarterback now, you got to still lean on that run game. Like that's how you win in the Big Ten.
The
By
quick
winning.
game, the quick passing game, I think can be executed. 'Cause
And the downfield passing game too.
Yeah, you take. I mean, okay. Think about what we're talking about on September 7th, this night game, and you still got to factor in that Dylan is a freshman, and this is a lot. But if
Mhm.
you have a run game
That's what
cranking
I'm
that
saying.
night, that takes a lot of pressure off the freshman. Now, when he's a junior, if he's still at Nebraska, he'll be used to this stuff, and it maybe is not quite as important to take pressure off of him.
Mhm.
But right now, in that setting, he's never experienced anything like he's about to see in that game. If you get Gabe Ervin and Emmett Johnson cranking early in that game, it takes pressure off of everybody.
Mhm.
and then you get those play actions that are wide open.
Right.
Well, and guys, they were so close last year in Boulder to blowing the dam down with the run game.
They were.
In that second quarter,
Yeah.
you could see Gabe Urban getting downhill.
Remember, we were in the press box. We were standing there
Third
going,
quarter,
"Hey,
too,
guys,
yeah.
I think they're going to take over I think Nebraska's taking over this game." Then what happened?
2 critical things. Albano missed that field goal.
At the end of the
And
half, yeah.
and then the turnovers by Sims.
Yep.
I mean, missed field goal and then the combination of turnovers to close. The game was over on that little. But Nebraska, and Matt Rule won't say this publicly, but he knows how close they were to kind of getting control of that game, and it just blew up in a matter of like 5 minutes.
Yeah, they got their downhill game, running game going. Irvin was going.
I know. They're
He was
getting
going.
chunks.
Yeah.
All right, final question, Abby Barmore.
What are some of the best night games that you remember going to in Memorial Stadium?
Well, I went to one of the earlier ones in history, the Washington game in '91, I believe.
Yeah, it was 90 or 91 for sure. Steve Entman and Billy Joe Hebert. Those are huge.
And my
Those are-
dad just bought his first brand new car we ever got. And I remember like he got that car and he bought it on that Saturday and we barely made kickoff. Like he was going like 90 miles an hour down I-80.
Why were you late?
Because he was getting his truck.
Oh, is it
And
truck?
so my dad and I went, and I went to that. That was the first night game I ever went to, and they lost. But that was a Washington team that won the national championship.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's other ones that really come to mind at home.
Well, Florida State, when they came in, and I'm going to say the older generation that's watching will remember, I think it was 85. They came in. That was memorable. The Washington game was very memorable. These questions kill me, Abby, because there's so many games to.
They used to have to bring in portable lights in the early years, though.
Yeah, there's so many games that run together in my mind. There's a Colorado game at night where it was wet.
90.
Yeah,
or
and
91.
Detmer, and that little Detmer had. I think he had trouble gripping the ball all game because of his little hands, and he was way overmatched. And I've never seen it. It was a. Well, there was some bloodlust in that stadium for sure.
Mm-hmm. There's been some road night games that jump out. The one, like the Missouri one, where it was raining.
Oh yeah,
and the power went out.
Remember
That the lights went out,
Yeah.
and it was like pitch black in the stadium. Yeah, and then Nebraska made that comeback. Gomes had the interception.
Yep.
Sue had the
Yep.
big play. So like that one stands out just because of the
It did stand
uniqueness with the power outage.
Did you ever hear the Tom Osborne story from that game? He's the athletic director, and he noticed some things with the secondary of Missouri, and he wrote it down on a piece of paper, and somebody brought it to Sean Watson at
You're
halftime.
kidding me.
And they went after, and remember Niles Paul
Mhm.
went free.
I'd never heard that story.
Yeah, Osborne, and I asked him that this last summer, and he would make suggestions, just like small things, and just said, "This is what I'm seeing. If you're interested," and he'd give him a piece of paper.
That is
If you're
fascinating.
interested.
That is fascinating. Sean Watson was the type he respected Tom a lot, and Sean had a reverence for great coaches. Sean was a good dude.
Yeah, he was. I always thought he was a really good coach.
Good coach and really good dude. Anyway, keep going.
No, that's
That
the
was our
final
last
one. I'm
one.
trying to think of the other
Oh.
night games. Sometimes a 2:30 game gets confused as a
Yeah,
night
'cause
game.
it turns dark.
It turns dark.
What the Michigan State game recently? Brandon Riley had that game winner.
That was a night game, right?
Yeah, I can't remember when that started. That one was a good
2016.
That was a big one. That was a big Riley win.
one. Mhm.
That was one of the few Riley
Mhm.
games that you say that was a big win for Riley.
Well, the only Wisconsin win Nebraska's ever had in the Big Ten was that night in
Uh-huh.
Lincoln, and they wore those god awful.
yeah.
Monte
uniforms.
Ball
And
fumbled, right?
They misheard this. It was so loud they couldn't hear, and they kind of misfired the last play.
Okay.
But yeah, there's been some really the Ohio State, the very first Ohio
Mhm.
State game
Mhm.
with the Levante David fumble strip.
Yeah. Although you've mentioned that it's true. A lot of fans left that game at halftime. But it was still.
That's when Bo went off on the hot mic.
Right. That's right. That's what elicited those comments by Bo Pelini that ultimately got him in hot water.
But yeah, this will be right up there though. The Miami game we talk about all the time.
Oh yeah.
Is one of the better ones.
Whoa,
But
that was loud.
Yes.